Tara, Trump loves to boast about his rallies, but as we showed, even his supporters have started to tire of him. They're leaving early. You saw the flatlining of the RNC when he took the stage for, I guess, close to 2 hours. He recently held a rally in Pennsylvania, and by the end of it, a large number of the arena's 8,000 seats were empty. Is the rambling turning them off, or is it just because it's the same old, tired playbook?
I think it's a bit of all of the above. I think that everyone has a bit of fatigue, even some of the Trump supporters now, not the culty Trump supporters, but the Trump supporters who go and they're like, okay, we've kind of seen this. It's almost like you're a fan of a certain entertainer or a comedian, and then they give a performance where you're like, that wasn't the greatest. People are just tired of it because he doesn't have any new material. That's the bottom line. He keeps repeating the same things over and over and over again, and they're looking for more. And when he tries to give more, then we hear the absolute insanity. Trump has been off the rails, more so than usual lately, not only in these rallies, but in his social media posts. The ramblings of an absolute lunatic every single day. And the media does, to Molly's point, some media, they try to report it in a way that normalizes it. There's no normalization of Donald Trump putting out these threads where he's threatening to jail donors, jail people who, election officials, people he's threatening mass deportations. He's threatening cease and desists to do what? I don't know. You don't get to just cease and desist people because you don't like what they're doing or you're mad at them. I mean, it's insane. And yet there's very little coverage of it. Well, that's just Trump being Trump. No, that would be fine if he were still the reality show host on The Apprentice.
Yeah, but he's not 10 years
he's
into
running
it.
Right. He's running for president of the United States again. He will have control of the nuclear codes. This is a problem, and it's why people are able to say, well, I might not like him, but I like his policies. Well, what policies are those? And you don't get to excuse the fact that he's a horrible person and think that separates his ability to govern. They are interconnected. So stop giving people a pass for still supporting someone that is this dangerous to our country. That's why you saw a Republican woman was interviewed recently and asked why she was supporting Kamala Harris. And she said, because she's a normal human being. Right. That normalcy is refreshing to so many people. That woman that cried tears at Pence's in Pittsburgh hit hard for so many of us because that woman is just, I think she represents a lot of America, just saying, are we going to be okay? And Kamala Harris showed empathy and compassion, things that a normal, well-adjusted human being demonstrates. Donald Trump is none of those things.
Incapable
so he should not be anywhere near power. Correct. So stop normalizing it.
Tara, that Republicans are kind of campaigning on a pro-family party while having Donald Trump at the top of the ticket. I think for anyone with basic common sense realizes with his sordid history, it just doesn't jive that you have Donald Trump as the pro-family party guy.
Yeah, the hypocrisy of all of that it's just a lot. But looking at JD Vance, the more he speaks, the more troubled you see he is as an individual. He's obviously got a lot of unresolved issues when it comes to family, when it comes to women, his view of the world. We're seeing him almost work through it from his book and Hillbilly Elegy and his upbringing to him now being a heartbeat away possibly from the presidency if, God forbid, Donald Trump were to win. And I think American women are looking at this ticket and saying, is this really who we want making decisions for our lives, for our children's lives, for our daughters' lives? And, at the Seneca Project, we put out an ad this weekend called Hope. And it targets IVF girl dads. Because the IVF debate here is also important because they say that they're pro-family, but yet these are people who don't care if IVF is taken away or if contraception, or they want to tell people how to create their own families. And that's a problem. Yeah. And the girl dads out there are looking at this also saying, I don't want these people telling me or my wife how and when we are to become parents. I don't want them taking away the ability for me to protect my daughter, because that's what the overturning of Roe has created. And you're looking at all these states that have these ballot initiatives, and you're looking at what, Donald Trump and Vance keep saying, oh, give it back to the states. The states should decide. Really? Look at what's happening in Missouri. They have ballot initiatives, and you have to get signatures. And now the Republicans are trying to question the signatures and whether they can get it on the ballot. They're trying to mess with the process. You don't want to leave these decisions up to MAGA people who are in positions of power in the states. It should be codified nationally. JD Vance voted against codifying IVF rights. You don't think that they want a national abortion ban? Of course they do. You can't trust anything these people say. They have a very distorted viewpoint of what we as individuals should do and how we should raise our families, or if we should choose to have them or not. That is there's nothing conservative about that, by the way.
Yeah, Tara, before I go, I got to get your thoughts. The debate that Donald Trump had against Joe Biden that basically set all of this into motion, people forget how bad Donald Trump's performance was because everybody was focused on Joe Biden, right? Donald Trump lied his way, completely incoherent throughout the entire debate.
Yep.
He's not going to have that going up against Kamala Harris, a disciplined former prosecutor who's 20 years younger than him.
No, absolutely not. And that's why he's setting the expectations so low. He's complaining already about everything going into this debate. That's what he does because he knows that he's incapable. He knows that he's probably going to lose. He doesn't have the same mental acuity or agility that Kamala Harris has. And I've said this repeatedly. He's about to get cross-examined for the first time in front of the American people in a way that he has never faced before. She's literally a prosecutor against a felon. That visual alone is something that is a stark contrast that should shock the American people. But then again, Donald Trump is who he is. It's baked in, and it's up to her to make sure the American people fully understand that contrast because it's an important one.